The Bitcoin bulls have completely changed the game for the Bitcoin bears, and this is going to be explained in today's episode. We'll be going through the Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic. What phase are we in right now, and how are we going to reach all-time high potentially in the next coming weeks, guys? Most importantly, going through the lower time frames in detail of what are the next resistance and support levels and the wave formations so we can take advantage for the next trading setup. Now, if you are not trading already, Bybit is my #1 crypto trading platform. You do have a great bonus down below. However, if you cannot trade on Bybit because of KYC, you have bluffing. That is a great alternative. The biggest bonus is available for bluffing. No KYC, just with an email and a password, you can start trading in minutes. We'll be going through some macro events that are very important and the liquidity heat map, guys. So without further ado, let's go right away through this scenario. The macro event, the Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic that is following the phases very nicely. However, there is one phase here that happened in between May and June that didn't quite mimic this Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic. That is the upthrust phase B, where we did not take the all-time high. As you can see, it formed a lower high, hitting the $72,000 range. However, the rest of the phases are looking very promising. As you can see here, during the last few weeks, we had this descending wedgie channel structure. We also hit the lows of the range, which is going beneath the 1st of May low at $56,600, creating that spring point. So far, so good. The price is pumping over $7,000 from that point, as you can see with this major rally. Now, the question is, have we already confirmed that we are getting above the creek point, okay, the descending wedge structure, or are we going to get one more leg to the downside to get the test point, right? We're going to be testing those support levels of the range that is going to be explained on the other chart, okay? Going through those major confluence zones and realize where we could be inside of this reaccumulation stage. So the question is, have we already jumped across the creek phase as we've got above the descending wedge channel, okay? Or this is just the first big sign of strength and we are going to get a pretty decent pullback to get to $59,000 area, which should be holding very nicely as support. That is the question right now. In my opinion, we are still going to be forming the test phase. And I'm going to explain that with Elliott wave theory with the next chart. So far, it is looking extremely good for the next coming weeks to be extremely bullish and hit all-time highs, guys, potentially in just a few weeks from now. I want to explain this on the other chart here. This is the 4-hourly time frame on the Bitcoin chart. Now, the other day we were talking about a bearish case scenario. Without a doubt, we were forming this ascending wedge. We were at resistance, but there was the bullish case scenario in forming an explosive wave to test above $63,000 and potentially get a corrective move and then continuation to the upside in a 5-wave structure. Let me just explain this in detail, of course. We have already formed a higher high on the multi-weekly downtrend. What do I mean by this? Well, we've been creating some very aggressive lower lows and lower highs here on the chart. And this momentum has confirmed a higher high, getting above the highs here from the 1st of July at $63,600. That means one thing, that any pullback that has to come in the next coming hours or days will likely form a higher low. And there is a really nice pattern here. That is an inverted head and shoulder with an ascending neckline, okay? This will be looking very promising to create that higher low. That is, if we do correct down to $59,000 range, we could be forming that test phase and then absolutely rocket days after we are hitting those levels. So your question is, are we going to go down there? When should we go down there? Well, let's take a look here at the lower time frames. Something to note is that, yes, we have got above the value area low. We are testing the highs right there, confirming a higher high. So right now, if we are going to start moving to the downside, breaking the value area low from this entire range since March, well, should we be breaking down back to the lows? Is it going to be bearish? Well, this is the most crucial and important thing that you need to understand. We need to move down in a three-wave structure with extremely low volume. We want to see that volume decreasing. So if we are going to get that momentum to the downside, we do not want any powerful volume with the movement down, okay? Something that we need to be concerned about. We want to see that volume still very much decreasing, as you can see during the last few weeks, so we can confirm that the power is very low. Now let's go in detail, okay, with Fibonacci and analyze here this scenario on the lower time frame. Let's just zoom in on the 1 hourly time frame and look at the possibilities, because there was one scenario, which was the bullish one, talking about the multiple 1-2 momentum right there. We created a 1-2 right over here, and then the next 1-2, as you can see here, and we are still inside of that third wave. Potentially, we're going to hit one more high and then have the corrective structure to then get another impulsive move to the upside. Now, let's go in detail with what has happened right over here, because if we are counting this as a 1-2, we have formed a third wave right over here. Potentially, we're going to hit one more high and then get a larger corrective move to the downside to then form the next fifth wave. Now, let me explain with Fibonacci how we have hit the exact third wave very nicely here with the 1.618 extension. Let's take a look at Fibonacci here from the wave 1 start to the end to the wave 2. You can see how we've hit the 1.618 extension, very common for a third wave. And that is where we exactly got rejected here just in the last few hours. Now, this 1.618 extension, funny enough, was with a naked point of control. When we get the session volume profile and analyze the consolidations that we've had here just in June, we can see there was a naked point of control. Look at this high volume node from the 20th of June. That is exactly where we got rejected. Now, this is a naked point of control. The next day opened beneath the zone. So that is a nice high volume node that was with the 1.618 extension from this third wave, okay, inside of the larger third wave. So now the question is, of course, hey, are we going to form another wave to the upside? When we analyze this structure, it does look like that we should be creating one more push to the upside to finish this larger third wave, right? Let's count this here with another color so you can actually see how we are is still inside of that third wave, okay? And the main reason why we still could be in that third wave, because we've only formed 1, 2, and 3 right there. So the question is right now, hey, if we are testing the highs above $65,000, shouldn't we be creating a much larger corrective move here, potentially in a fourth wave to then get that next explosive fifth wave to the upside? Absolutely yes. So that is what we want to see, guys. If we are going to be finishing this fourth corrective wave now in the next coming hours, I want you to take into consideration, okay, that we could be forming here a high, okay, a lower high and one more push to the downside to sweep up the lows that have been formed during yesterday and today. Now, most importantly, Fibonacci retracement from the start of this wave, all right over here from the wave 2, wave 3, we want to take a look at Fibonacci retracement and speculate on, hey, where could we form that higher low? And without a doubt, most commonly for that wave 4 is in between the 382 and the 50% Fibonacci. Of course, the 236 is a minimum target zone. So are we going to push up from here inside of the third wave and then get much larger corrective move? I would be willing to speculate in a short position if this creates a failed auction, just knowing that we could retrace all the way down back to the lows, slightly above $62,000. Now, short trades are only for the range because I am looking at the price to continue to the upside in the next coming days. So we are looking for longs, but also we could be looking for short positions, just looking at the waves and speculating inside of the waves, and we could manage risk very, very well. So if we are going to get that movement to the downside to the 382, right? Just say that we formed an A wave right now. We're going to form a B wave, and we're going to form another low in the next coming hours, forming a three-wave structure. I would be speculating here on an ABC corrective move. And the most important Fibonacci levels that we should be getting a reaction, price exhaustion, is in between the 382 and the 50%, which is in between 61.8K and 60.7K. Yes, we can slightly dip below the 50% Fibonacci, but this would be a zone that I would be extremely interested to look for long positions. We have to see some magic price action here, such as double bottom scenarios, consolidation, looking at the 1-to-1, 1-to-1.618 extension maximum from this possible ABC structure, and analyze very carefully here if we are forming any type of a bullish CVD divergence and we're just getting that major reaction at the 50% Fibonacci and the volume is decreasing into this level and getting that consolidation for that major bounce to hit the highs again in the next coming days. So that is what I am speculating here, looking at this zone to maintain as support. The 382 50% Fibonacci should be the zone where the price should be bottoming out between today and tomorrow if we are going to follow this corrective structure. There is really no big major bearish counts. Of course, there is a possibility of the price just absolutely breaking down here beneath the wave 1, below the 618 Fibonacci from this pivot low to the pivot high. And of course, if that were to happen, then we would have to consider a bearish case scenario, the price actually going to lower levels. I do not think that this is going to happen in between today and tomorrow. We are likely going to take those highs with high probability instead of just breaking down here from the 618 Fibonacci. Okay, so I'll be paying attention to that 382 50% Fibonacci zone to look for another jump to hit the highs from today at $65,000. And if we were to just get massive sell-off for some reason, then obviously there will be no longs to be taken if the price is just going to be moving down very aggressively. But the next step, without a doubt, is taking again those highs to potentially complete this third wave structure. And I would be very much interested to look for that day trade short setup to come back down to the lows that we have been created between today and tomorrow at $62,400. So let's see how the price reacts to this level. I'm only going to short if it does create that failed auction. If the price just explodes out for some reason, then no shorts have to be taken, right? In a nutshell. That is basically it, guys. We do have the reaccumulation schematic that is looking very promising, and the waves here have been explained, the levels of support, the 382 50% Fibonacci zone, okay, in between 60K and 61.7K zone. That is the area that I would not want to see the price losing, all right? Losing $59,600 range would not be looking too great, as we are losing the highs of this uptrend momentum inside of this wave 1. That is something to be concerned about, all right? We'll be analyzing very, very carefully these scenarios if we were to lose that zone right over here. We want to maintain above this level at least till we complete, all right, the 5 waves to the upside. Of course, after this momentum, without a doubt, we could be getting a pretty steep corrective move, and we're looking for that test scenario, right? Still would be bullish, especially after finishing 5 waves to the upside. I would be looking for a massive A, B, C to the downside inside of this wave 2 potentially, okay? So that is what we are looking at, guys, in the next coming days. Price is looking very good for the momentum to continue. Let's go right away with some macro bullish news. We have Donald Trump selects pro-Bitcoin and crypto JD Vance as his running mate vice president. This is extremely bullish. Donald Trump likely to be elected president, and we have his vice president being, a massive bull for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We have the ETF inflows absolutely exploding. Over 4,610 Bitcoin accumulated in the last 24 hours. So reaccumulation schematic looks pretty promising for the next 1 to 2 weeks. We also have Hong Kong ETFs buys 605 Bitcoin. This is absolutely massive. They are continuing the momentum and the accumulation. And what we do have here with the heat map is still billions of dollars of short liquidations above $65,000, guys. So it looks pretty good to continue the short squeeze in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And everything points out that the bulls are likely in control. And the main reason why, just looking at the market structure, is that we have confirmed a higher high on this multi-weekly downtrend, and a higher low has extreme high probability if we were to get that corrective move. Legends, thank you very much for joining, and I will see you in the next one.